Time now to take a look at some of the day's top business news, and who better than Brian Quinn to brief us on all of this. Starting with that court battle getting underway in California as Apple faces one of its biggest legal threats in recent years. Brian.
Epic court battle, you might say, Mark. Epic Games makes the hugely popular multiplayer video game Fortnite. They are suing Apple over its App Store, which Epic contends enforces monopolistic power over the mobile software market. Now, the App Store takes a commission of up to 30% on payments to developers, as well as subjecting their products to strict guidelines that these developers say stifles competition against Apple's own offerings. Last year, Epic set up a payments system for iPhone-based Fortnite players outside of Apple's pay system. As expected, that move got the Fortnite app kicked off the App Store. That led Epic to file suit while also launching a PR campaign against Apple. Now, Apple, for its part, says most developers, in fact, pay no more than 15% in commissions, and even that 30% figure is an industry standard. The company is going to be fighting very hard to keep the status quo. Analysts describe the App Store as the moat around Apple's metaphorical castle. It keeps users in its ecosystem while bringing in up to $18 billion a year. Take a listen to this.
This is something, it's not just about Epic, it's about the industry. Everyone's watching this closely to see if Apple ultimately could defend its moat or if there's any sort of judgment against it, which would have a massive ripple impact.
And Brian, that talk of ripple effect, what does that mean? What's at stake here?
Well, Mark, if Apple loses and has to give up a chunk of its App Store revenues, that, of course, a huge hit for its bottom line, as well as for, you would say, rivals like Google, who, in fact, charge similar commissions and are also being sued over their App Stores and their commissions in there. Even assuming Apple wins, though, a lot of its business model is about to be picked apart on the witness stand during this trial. And that comes at a moment when big tech overall, and Apple in particular, are coming under growing regulatory scrutiny. In the U.S., lawmakers from both parties are increasingly calling Apple a monopoly. Here in the EU, the bloc's competition watchdog just last week brought antitrust charges against Apple over a dispute with streaming service Spotify. Now, most legal observers say Apple is in a fairly strong position for this particular case, especially in the U.S., where antitrust law tends to favor the defendant. The reality is, though, there's likely going to be new laws regulating tech giants on both sides of the Atlantic in the near future.
And we'll finish this bulletin with some big news. Well, everything he does is big news. Let's get that straight. Some big news in business today. Some of the biggest media brands from the early days of the internet are being sold off. And Brian, I'm seeing Yahoo and AOL. I'd forgotten about those two.
Already, Mark? You've already so soon?
Fast-moving internet, isn't it? You know.
I bet these were the giants of the early days of the internet.
Indeed.
When was the last time you used one? Probably not terribly recently. Anyway, Yahoo and AOL being sold off to a private equity firm. Apollo Global Management is the firm in a $5 billion deal. That's after being owned by a U.S. wireless company, Verizon, for the last 5 years. Now, these two companies, as we said, giants of the early internet. AOL was the main portal for most users. Yahoo, one of the top search engines and content providers for quite a while. Their $9 billion acquisition back in 2015 was part of a plan by Verizon to compete with internet giants that had risen up to overtake them, specifically Google and Facebook. Did not work out that way. Clearly, Verizon took a $4.5 billion write-down on the deal just a year after it was completed. Staying in the game a bit, though, it's keeping a 10% stake in this new company, which will just be called simply Yahoo. The deal is going to help Verizon raise cash, and it needs that cash to license more wireless spectrum for 5G networks. So I guess sticking with what they know there, perhaps.
Indeed. One to watch. Brian, thank you as ever very much indeed. Brian Quinn with all the business. Stay with us. We've got so much more to come. You're watching France 24.